How do you connect a huge global mission for social change with something as tiny and precise as a single line of computer code? I know, it sounds like a stretch, right? Well, today we're going to see exactly how one organization does it, turning these really big ideals into real-world practical skills. Okay, let's jump right in. So this is the core idea, the beating heart of the Al Issa Institute. And before we get into any of the tech stuff, we've got to get this human-centric foundation. For them, Sanctuary isn't just a roof over your head. It's about creating this environment of real emotional safety and inclusion, a place where every single person feels like they truly belong. And to really get how this idea of Sanctuary shapes their unique way of teaching, we first need to see their mission in action. And it's a mission that stretches all the way from their local community in the UK to southeastern Africa. So right there at home in East Yorkshire, they are all in on community building. We're talking everything from coding clubs to interfaith storytelling workshops, but the goal is always the same: create these safe, inclusive spaces where young people, especially from backgrounds that don't always get a fair shake, can learn, grow, and just feel seen. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Their work doesn't stop at the UK border. In Malawi, they're tackling the digital divide head-on. They're delivering devices, setting up mentorships, and even helping with essentials like clean water. You see, it's that exact same Sanctuary idea, just applied on a global scale, to give learners a real shot at shaping their own futures. So, when you put it all together, what it all boils down to is this one core challenge. Whether we're talking about Hull or Malawi, the mission is to close the gaps in who gets access to technology, and, just as importantly, to tackle that gender imbalance that's still a huge issue in the world of computing. Okay, so we've got this really powerful why behind everything they do, but how does that actually turn into, well, anything? So let's do it. Let's zoom all the way in, from that 30,000-foot view of the mission right down into a Year 8 beginner's Python class. This, right here, is where the magic happens. This is the entry point for so many students, Mr. Catelia's Python 101 course. This is where it gets real. It's the on-the-ground effort where that huge mission of empowerment gets turned into skills that you can actually use. So for anyone who's new to this, you might be wondering, what even is programming? Well, the course kicks off with this brilliant analogy. It's just writing instructions for a computer. Think of it like a recipe for a cake. If your steps are clear, in the right order, and super precise, you get a delicious cake. If not, well, you get a mess. It's the same idea. So, what's that very first step in the recipe? It's a command called print. And this just shows you how simple it can be to get started. You literally type the word print, all lowercase, add a couple of parentheses, and then, for text, you pop your message inside some quotation marks. That is it. That's your first line of code. And what does print actually do? Its job is just beautifully simple. It takes whatever you gave it and displays it on the screen. And this is the cool part. It's that first moment a student gets to see their code do something. The computer talks back to you. It makes this abstract thing feel totally real and interactive. Okay, now check this out, because this slide reveals a super important rule in programming. See the difference those little quotation marks make? On the left, with quotes, the computer just sees 5 plus 3 as a piece of text. It doesn't think about it, it just prints it out exactly as you wrote it. But on the right, without the quotes, the computer sees numbers and a plus sign and goes, oh, that's a math problem, and it gives you the answer, 8. So the big takeaway? Quotes are for text, no quotes are for calculations. Simple as that. Look, when you're learning any new recipe, you're going to mess up. You'll forget the salt or burn the toast. And in coding, that's not just okay, it's a totally normal, expected part of the whole process. Learning to find and fix those little mistakes, what we call debugging, is a huge part of the skill itself. So here are a couple of classic trip-ups for beginners. First, something called case sensitivity. To a computer, print, with a capital P, is a totally different word than print with a lowercase p. Who knew? Second, mismatched parentheses. It's like in grammar. Every opening bracket has to have a closing one. These aren't failures, they're just the little rules of the road you pick up. Alright, so we've got the technical stuff down, but let's be real. How do you make syntax and logic exciting for a room full of 13-year-olds? This is where their teaching method gets really creative. I mean, this is the million-dollar question for any teacher, isn't it? How on earth do you make something abstract like an algorithm feel, fun? How do you stop eyes from glazing over? Well, the answer is brilliant. You connect it to a world they already know inside and out. Video games. Mr. Catalia uses games like Roblox and Fortnite as these incredible teaching tools. Suddenly, a tricky obstacle course in Roblox becomes a perfect lesson in computational thinking, planning your steps, being efficient. A game's inventory, where you store all your items, that becomes a tangible example of a data structure. It's genius because it makes these big, abstract ideas instantly click. Okay, so let's zoom back out one more time. We went from the big mission down to the classroom, from the core idea to common errors. So why? Why does teaching a 13-year-old how to print "Hello World" matter in the grand scheme of things?
Because the goal here is so much bigger than just learning the rules of a programming language. It is about a fundamental shift in how these students see the world and their place in it. It's about empowering them to go from just using apps and playing games to understanding how they're built and maybe, just maybe, building their own someday. That's the whole game changer, becoming a creator, not just consumer.
And this brings us right back full circle to the heart of the Al-Issa Institute. This quote says it all. Education isn't just learning stuff. It's a form of resistance against inequality. Giving kids these skills is a direct way they fulfill their mission of creating a more equitable world.
So that first, simple line of code we looked at, it's so much more than a command on a screen. It's the first word in a brand new language. It's a tiny spark of confidence that says, hey, I can make the computer do what I want. It's a step towards being included in our digital world. It's the beginning of a student seeing themselves as someone who can build the future, not just live in it. Which kind of leaves us with this one last thing to think about. If that one single line of code can kickstart such a powerful journey for one person, just imagine the potential when you don't just create one coder, but a whole community of them. A community built on a foundation of sanctuary and belonging. What could a group like that build?